What's up? Hope we're all doing amazing. Today I want to talk about how did man, that's so confusing. I don't mind that. I want to talk about how we're just never gonna understand it, man. We're never gonna understand how God works. We're never gonna understand how God moves, man. We're never gonna understand it. He's far too advanced. He's far too brilliant, too wise, too man. It's so much so that it even says in the word that as high as the heavens are above the earth. Do you know how high the heavens are? You know what? We just look up. We just think, this is the highest heaven. Nah, man, that's like heaven one, man. There's still 10 other heavens, man. There's still 10, and bro, just oh my gosh. If you had to literally start walking from here to where God is in terms of how far that actually is, you will never get there. You will have died long before you even get to heaven too, man. Just to help you understand just how far this is, just how high this is, how big that gap is between us and him. It says as high as the heavens are above the earth, so are his ways higher than our ways, and his thoughts higher than our thoughts. And we should be happy that he doesn't think like us. We should be happy he doesn't act or do anything like we want him to, because have you seen how God literally gave us the planet Earth. He gave us glory. He glorified us, and he gave us this earth, and he said, yo, this is your kingdom. And look what we've done. We've polluted it, we've messed it up. So I'm actually quite glad we're not the ones in charge. God is the one in charge. God is the one who decides things, and I'm actually glad it's him who gets to decide, because he is far smarter. He is far more superior than any situation or circumstance or anything that this world will throw at us, man. And that's such a beautiful thing, because it gives me hope, and it helps me realize that, man, my hands are not just my life is not just in the hands of just some regular guy who's just a human being. My life is not just in the hands of some created being who has limited capabilities and thinking and all that. But my hands are in my life is in the hands of the one who created everything in 6 days, man. Yeah, sure, he may let me fall. Sure, he may inflict me with pain sometimes. But then the thing is, he's the same one who will heal me. He's the same one who will lift me up. He will let me fall, but here's the beautiful thing. He will raise me back up. And he won't just raise me back to where I was. He will raise me higher. It's kind of like he'll allow me. It's like I could go 1 step backwards, or 2 steps, or 10 steps backwards. But God will lift me up 4 steps ahead. He will take me 10 steps, 20 even, man. I tell you, God is that guy, man. God is the one you want to serve. God is the one you want to walk this life with, because he will always, always, always be that steadfast companion that will walk with you, that will guide you, that will cherish you, that will love you. Yeah, we will never understand his ways, but that's a good thing. So many times in my life I thought, man, why can't God just do what I want him to do? Why can't he just do what I want? And then some time goes by, he says no, but then some time goes by and I look and I'm like, man, anyway, God really was steps ahead of me. God really was steps ahead of me. He knew exactly what he was doing. God knows what he's doing, man. We can trust him. This is something it's still hard for me to believe, man. I still have my doubts. Even Abraham, the father of faith, literally prayed a prayer to the Father saying, Lord, help me overcome my unbelief. Help my unbelief, man. It's not easy. If literally the father of faith, and God knows his name, and God has written his name in the Bible, man, a whole story about him, the father of faith. If even he can doubt, man, what makes me think I want to be better? I'm not better, man. But it also helps me realize that, man, God also will not abandon me even though I doubt. He will help me. He can help me, and he will help me. And what's more beautiful than that, man? What's more beautiful than knowing that you have somebody who will walk this path with you? And it's not just someone. It's not just some being, some created being over here. This is the one who can do all things. He asks, is there anything too hard for me? Is there anything too hard for me, man? His words are also for me, man, because I won't even lie to you. I also be doubting sometimes. But the good thing is, man, God is always right there by my side, leading me beside quiet waters, beside still waters, man, being that help that I need. Man, there's nothing better than that, man. I'm telling you, honestly, the world isn't worth losing a relationship like that. It will never ever be worth it, because when it's all said and done, when we are at the end of our rope, when we're at the end of our life, yeah, we've had all the fun. We've said YOLO, 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 you know. We've said YOLO, oh yeah, you know, you only live once. We've said that, but then once that YOLO ends, and you actually, now it's time, you're sick, you're on your deathbed. I mean, God forbid, I really hope you all have long-lasting lives, but you're on your deathbed now, and you look back and you're like, man, yeah, I had all the fun, I did all the things, I partied and partied until I couldn't even do it anymore. You know, all these things. But then what will have really mattered? You could have gotten all the PhDs, all the masters, you could have had all the biggest houses, all the cars, everything. You can have everything. But then when you're at the end of your life and you realize that all that stuff is not going with you, it's just gonna be given off to somebody else. You know, you'll wonder, man, what really mattered though? What would have really mattered at the end of the day? God is calling you to something far greater than what we believe, what we see, what we, you know, these day-to-day things that we constantly get distracted by. You know, God is calling us to so much more than that, to a life filled with purpose, a life. Yani, he wants to give you life, man, not just life where over here you're alive, but he wants to give you life so that even when you're on your deathbed, you know this is not the end. There's still my second beginning is coming. It's just a transition period. Like for Jesus, he was dead for 3 days, but then what happened on the 3rd day? He rose again. And the same spirit that rose him from the dead is the same spirit we have access to right now. All we have to do is reach out and get him. All we have to do is reach out and believe that this God who can do all things will do all things for you, man. Honestly, I like how he said it in Romans, that if, no, it wasn't in Romans, sorry. I like how it said, well, if God can freely give you his son, if he can freely, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. If God can freely give you heaven's best, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. If God was so willing that while you were a sinner, while I was still deep in this darkness, that honestly, if we're to be honest, I deserve to be dead. We all deserve to die. We all deserve death. It says the wages of sin is death. But if while we were still sinners, God was able to give us heaven's best, while we were still sinners, meaning we are on the red side of this scale, man. Have you seen a scale where it's green, yellow, red? We're on the red side, man. Yani us, it's bad, it's terrible. But the Lord said, no, I got you. And he went and put the cross in that ground, man. And he said, it is finished. He went and died a death that no one would ever want to die, and said, it is finished. And now, while we were still sinners, he died for us. How much more will he give you now that you're trying to choose him, now that you're trying to live for him, now that you are trying to be with him? How much more will he give us? Just think about that for a second, man. While you were still a sinner, while you were still out there cheating, you know, fornicating, clubbing, all that stuff, drinking, man. That was me, man. I was doing all those things, let's be real. But the Lord said, no. I died for you, and he gave me a second chance, man. The Lord is calling you to a second chance, man, to a new beginning, a beginning in the spirit, in the spiritual world, where, you know the spiritual world is the parent world. Whatever you declare there must happen here. Isn't that a world you want to conquer? Let's be real. Isn't that the world to conquer? Because if whatever you declare there happens here at some point in time, isn't that the place you want to focus on? It's called the parent world for a reason. And there's so much more that happens there than we ever realize. The Lord is calling us right now choose wisely.